And like a few years ago, we used that metric to calculate the performance. What's the speed? Like how fast this page load. But the last, I don't know, 5 years, we figured out that it's not only about loads fast. What is a good experience? Because you can have like a really simple website that loads fast, but is it good or not? And the same way is like F1. When you have F1, the championship is not only the fastest car. You need to have like a good team, a good driver, and that's kind of the recipe for you to be a champion, right? And who follows F1? And just talk about Formula One. Like who likes that? Just for, yeah, nice. Okay, and like for me it was like amazing. Just like every like Sunday morning, watch with my mom there, and just see the whole things around there. And on the web is the same thing. Like on the web it's not about the speed, but also the content. So your driver is like your content, so it should be unique. And the team that supports you, the whole infrastructure, like server and the application also should be fast. We have a good presentation today. I don't know if Dave is here, but it's an amazing talk about like performance WordPress. And if you didn't see, so just check later the recording. And for today, what I have here. So I will talk about those items, but I will go over the F1 and kind of associate those items. But the main goal it is for we talk about page experience, what it is, core web vitals, how we can improve some stuff with WordPress, and new items that it's coming to the web now, and also new tools. Only one thing that I don't have here, it is a video that I'm supposed to play, but I will explain. It's the last slide. So, and our challenge is like how we can measure performance and user experience. It's really, like, before was hard, but now we have the tools for that. The browsers can give enough information for we know what is a good experience with performance. And now we have the page experience signals that kind of like try to mix those two items, like performance and user experience. And how works that? So we have the first checklist that is kind of yes or no items. So we have security, and we have mobile friendly, so how your content adapts to a mobile phone. As we know, is a reality now. Like mobile is the biggest part of our audience. A few cases is not yet, but mobile is what like runs the web today. And the no intrusive content, so something that doesn't affect the experience for the content, like doesn't block the user see the content or do the main things. And on the other side are the core web vitals, kind of like metrics that will translate how it's your website's performing, and related to performance and user experience. So security is like HTTPS, that's the item that we saw before. But one, it's not new, but came last, kind of like became popular last year, is the sign exchange. So it's a technology that you create a contract between your website and who crawls your website. And basically, you guarantee that the crawler will load that content, and you won't pass any like things under the hood to track the users. And that was a problem that, for example, AMP was trying to solve. That when you have the quickest like load time when you come from the search, because the search is like preloading that content behind the scenes. So you can do that with AMP, but you couldn't do with a normal website because anyone could track those people from the search, put like a third-party content and loads that. But with sign exchange, it's possible for you to create a contract and you won't trick the crawler. So the crawler, you know that that's the content that should be loaded and won't be any like harm to load that content. So, and as I explained, so the search can crawl that, can prefetch, and also can use in the cache. Will depends on the Bing or Google bot that will decide to do that, but it is already available from Chrome 78, right? I would just get water. I don't know my water. We'll just get water. So, and just one like we have ways to build that manually, but also we have like one-click solutions. Like for example, Cloudflare is already like having a tool that we can enable on your website, on a WordPress website, and you can use that. And now talk about Core Web Vitals. I think most of you are tired to listen. Like it's something that was like running around the whole year, but one change that came this year, it is before Core Web Vitals was only for the mobile audience. And since February, we have the Core Web Vitals counting for desktop as well. So there is a link for that content. So I will share this presentation after, and you can just check all the links there. And just checking the Core Web Vitals, like who implemented that or who is okay? Just like raise your hands, just for who has a good score, like just who is like having troubles to implement that. And just for I know what is the most common one? Like is a LCP or the other ones? Just who's have problem with LCP? Okay, good. So I'm just asking that because during my daily work, the most question that I answer is the LCP. So, and that's why I will just focus on that item today, because basically like 80% of my queries, we run over that item. And the LCP is the time to load the largest element on the screen. So if you have like a hero image or have a big logo, or if you have like we have the list of elements here, can be those items. Can be an image, can be a video, a block with a background, and that item will be the item responsible for the LSP time. And just going back to the F1, so the LCP, I consider the pit stop time, because when you think that the pit stop is just a simple process, like the car stops there, fill the gas, change the tire, and done. But the actual problem is like 20 people running around to do every single task at the right time in seconds. It's really like, that can decide the race, right? If the way that everyone works, like no one goes and, for example, goes and, oh, I will change one tire, I will fill the car now. It's not a sequence, like you need to do every single task like in different moments and kind of parallel to nail that. And the LCP is the same thing. We have a few items that will influence on that. So the browser will request the page will come back, and the navigator will try to identify what is the first items, the first view that you have, and based on those items, the browser can create a priority for that, like who I will load first. And in those two moments, one is the first request, that is not depends only on our side, but also someone that is the hosting or the server or our application. So, and that first response, you relies on the server and how good is our application. But the front end part, like how we can mount this process and prioritize the right element, I will just share a few items that can help you in that process now. And improving the LCPs, like we have like something that can create some impact. The slow server, the loading time for resource, the rendering blocking, and the client side. So I will talk mainly on the slow server and how to load the items now. Yeah, so slow server response, we saw I don't know, who saw the David talk today? Like, now I'm trying to keep you awake. Who saw the Dave talk? Just like, it was really nice. And he showed like loads of like good tips for how you can improve your application, but also a good server, no, a good hosting service can create some impact. For example, if you have like a slow server, it's kind of like you run F1 with a tuk-tuk. Now, you can be a good driver, but the things will just like start so late, and you won't take the best from like your application won't perform so well. And the ideal scenario is we have some good scuderias, the teams. I didn't want to put any brand, but there is the Bull team and the Ross team and the F1, like who follows F1, we'll know, but you should select the good team. And one thing that he mentioned that, oh, if you want a good hosting service, you can put more money, but inside inside our ecosystem, WordPress, we have like good servers that can have a better price. So even like the sponsors that we have today here outside the hosting so on, we have good ones. You can just talk with them, and even you can make a deal. I think I'm around for WordCamps for a while. Like every WordCamp, you just sit with the hosting and just ask for a discount if you think that is like, and you will get it because the guys they're there like to show their service, and it's a good opportunity for you to do that as well. And the second problem, like after the hosting, like is like 80% of the users that I see daily is like image. Like image is a kind of the gas for the car, and that's a good strategy. So if you're gonna run with like a lighter car, you can't feel the whole gas for the car once. And the same thing is the website. You can't use like a huge image to load and have your website like faster. And just so we understand that, for example, we have my clones here. Clone number 1, 2, 3. It's the same image. The only thing that we are changing here is the format. And here's the size of that image, like 400 pixels for 800. And the difference between those images are, we have the PNG here for the same image, 1.6 megabytes. We have that one that is 800, and this one is like 264. And WebP now, I think, is like 94% of the browsers support that. And also, there is a proposal for WebP be the default format in a WordPress website. There is a group that is like the Web Performance Lab. So they create a plugin, and they're testing those items. But the idea for that group and that plugin is moving those changes to the core. And I hope that soon we will have WebP by default on WordPress. And so we just talk about one image, but imagine like you have like a WooCommerce website that will have like 10 images or 20 images, and that will be a big difference. And the other options that we have here are plugins that will automate that process for you compress those images and put the right format. And also there are tools on the web that you can select, like for example, Squoosh.app is a PWA that you can just upload the image and you can get a WebP or IVF. And also that thing about like the format, we can also create like fallbacks for, so if the user doesn't have support to WebP, we can create a fallback for that as well. So there are loads of like ways for we do that. But like one good, like the most common tip is like just pay attention on your image. So, and this one is a case from the WordPress core now. It's like a cover block. We just got a little bit of water here. Oh, yeah. And so until now, questions. Just for, I will just break the rules down. Someone has a few questions until now. No, can I keep going? Yep. So, and cover block. Like cover block is one item that, like time to time, I got some requests for users try to optimize that item, because the challenge here is that guy can be anywhere, and the other problem is you can change, for example, the parallax format will behave in one way, and the image will behave in another way, and the most common problem here is the parallax cover block. So if that cover block will be the LCP for your website, that image is not loaded by an image tag, will be loaded in the CSS. And the problem in that situation is when we have an image, it's kind of like you have the plan of the house, like you have the draw of the house. You know where is the living room, the kitchen, and you just build over that. But the CSS will define any element that have this class, will load that image, and the browser doesn't know where that image will go until loads the CSS. And that can affect the priority to load that item. And there are plugins that fix that problem, that do some preloading with JavaScript, but kind of like it is a solution that can be done in this first place, but is a third-party solution that will made over that. But the way to fix that, we have like 2 ways to go here. I just shared this link. It's the issue that I have open on the Gutenberg repo. So who wants to like comment there as well, say, oh, I use the cover block, I have problems, well, can just comment there. And I think the guy that is from the Greek community, I think the name is probably he works on the WordPress core, and yeah, he was the person that tags that. But the problem that I mentioned before, it is the image we can prioritize because the image just like start load after everyone here. And the ideal scenario that we kind of try to push that image, say, oh, this is a priority, just please load that at the same time because that's an important item for me. And one solution that we can do, we can like preload items. So you can use a tag that will preload the item. And we can define which asset we have. And the first element for that, the first address. And also we can create like an image source set for define like different resolutions, what image I will load. And with that, we kind of try to push for the previous situation that, okay, before you load JavaScript, I need to load this item as well, because that item will be important for me. A second alternative for that, and also it's a problem for the cover block, the cover block, when you upload an image with 200, not 200, but 2,000 pixels, that image also will be loaded for a mobile device. So even if you use that block in a mobile device and use Parallax, you're going to load like an image with 2,600 pixels. That's not needed. And another solution for that, it's a image set. That is a CSS property that you can define the different resolutions for background image via CSS. So that's another way to kind of like solve that problem. So if you are a plugin developer, it's fine. So you can just go there and change. But if you're not a developer, also you can go to the core and request like that change, like participate for the discussion, say, oh, just like give thumbs up for that problem. And so now it's more like a bit the next level for like prioritize items. It's called priority hints. That's a new feature that is landing on Chrome 102. So now we have the Chrome 100. And the priority hints, basically we can go inline and define the priority for those items. And how it's going to work. So we can select like an image tag, a script tag, or iframe, and set a priority for that item. And that will be really handy because if we have a block, we don't need to change the meta tag, like, or outside the, or change the theme. We can do that improvement on the actual blog to say, oh, that item is my LCP, and I want to prioritize them. So, and how it's going to work? So basically, it's just we add a property on our element, and I can define, for example, if something that has low priority, that's an important thing as well. So that I don't want to prioritize, for example, analytics. I don't want to track the users. I want to show the LCP first. And I can deprioritize some items and create a priority for my LCP element. So, and that feature, it's going to land in Chrome 102. So, and the last part of our race, the important point that we have when we create this process, like, to improve, is the monitoring part, like how we can check the things, how we can test our website. On WordPress, we have SiteKit. SiteKit, we can integrate it like Search Console, Google Analytics, one unique place. We have also good websites that, for example, the web page tests, you can schedule weekly tests or monthly tests that you can just like get those reports. If something affects your website, you're gonna see that, okay, that week my site is low, or that week my site is faster, and I can just go there and check it. And the last item for today is the new, that is inside Google Chrome, and that will already available on Canary. So the Chrome Canary is the version for developers, and we have a new performance inside. So inside Chrome, now what's gonna happen is we have that, it's kind of similar to that performance. This is the Chrome DevTools, and here's the performance panel. You can, with that item, that option, you can select one page, load that page, record, and you're gonna get insights for that. And you can see, for example, you have a CLS, or who is your LCP element, but who have used that before? Just like, raise it. And it's really handy, but for, I don't know, for, if you are starting with web development, it's too many information, like you're just getting overwhelmed like about the bunch of information that you get. And that new report, so is like the performance insight. What are we gonna have? We're gonna have here on the right side, for example, we have like key moments when our page loads. And for example, here I have my first content pane, and I have my large content pane here. And here I have this kind of slide, and I can slide and see the timeline. And for example, I can jump and see the moment that my LCP load, or I can see the moment that CLS happened. And on that timeline, I can just check what's happening here. For example, oh, who was the person that is like affecting that element, or who is the item. And another point here, for example, we have, when we pass the mouse over the LCP, our page, because I had a video here, but when you stop by, they show who is the LCP item. So also we get on the browser, say, oh, that's your LCP, and that item have loaded now. And the good part for that as well, those links, they have documentation. So when you click on that, you just jump to the documentation, and you're gonna have insights how you can fix that. So, and basically that's the tips for today, like that I would show. And the last one, it is those like performance like chains are really important, but the content's still the king. Like the content's the person that, like the item that will make your application unique. And that's a Brazilian driver, Senna. It's one of the good moments that I have, like watching F1, was really nice to see him. And he was really special, and that's the same thing. So if you have your website, you should have that item special. And when you talk about like a really competitive scenario, that everyone's a good driver, and that's the moment that performance will make the difference. That's the moment that page experience will make the difference, and just be aware about that. And the last one, about page experience, we have a list of kind of web series for talk about all those items, so you can get that link, and every video has like over 10 and 7 minutes, and is a really good content. And that's it. So that's our road.
Thank you. Thank you, Fellyph. This is a gift from us.
Amazing.
To remember this great event, I guess.
Yeah. I love that.
A lovely presentation. I know it's late in the afternoon. We're tired, but indeed.
Yeah.
And I will stick to the last thing you said, like content is king.
Yeah.
Because me as a developer and many in this building, people show them like the score and said, make it green, make it 90, and it's always a pain.
Yeah.
I do have a small question. It's more technical and just crossing these things. Nowadays, there's a theme marketplace with all the themes out there, and super complicated and whatever it is. So, trying to apply all of this, or a big part of this, in a ready-made theme, or a theme based on a theme builder, whatever that is. Do you find it easy? I mean, from your experience, or I would just ask, it's worth doing it?
Yeah, that will, like, going back to the numbers, there is the red number is the one that, okay, I need to do something. The yellow, like when your score is yellow, is fine, but based on like doing change, so if you are a developer, you can, for example, create a child theme and do a change, or create a mini plugin that, for example, I know that, for example, my cover block is that image, and I would just like create a mini plugin that I would just type the address, and I do a small change. But the ideal scenario for if you have a premium plugin is like you can just contact the developer, raise that, and say, oh, maybe we can take that improvement if you are not a developer. But I think the action point is like leave the red area. So if your website is red, so need attention. And the other tip that I have is like is the pit stop. You have loads of options to improve. Can be change the tire, can be the time to put gas, like, oh, how we can improve that. There are like different moments that you can improve as well. So even like can be the theme, can be infrastructure, can be the content. Sometimes it's easier, like for example, instead use the cover block, I just move the cover block to 2 lines behind, and my LCP will be a title or a paragraph.
Exactly, yeah. Nice tips.